Taeyang opened his eyes to a world of blue light. Everything around him glowed with a soft, strange color that hurt his head. He tried to sit up, but his body felt heavy like stone. Where was he? What happened to him? The room around him looked nothing like home. The walls were smooth and seemed to breathe with light. Strange symbols floated in the air above him, changing colors from blue to green to purple. He could not read them. He could not understand anything. A door opened without making any sound. A woman walked into the room and Taeyang's breath stopped in his throat. She was not human. Her skin was violet like the evening sky, and patterns of light moved across her face and arms like living tattoos. Her eyes were large and gold, and they looked at him with something that seemed like sadness. "You are awake," she said. Her voice was soft and musical. "How do you feel?" Taeyang tried to speak, but his throat was dry. Where am I?" "You are safe," the woman said. She moved closer to his bed. "My name is Nira. I have been taking care of you. Do you remember anything?" He searched his mind, but it was like looking into fog. "My name is Taeyang," he said slowly. I am human, but I do not remember anything else. Nothing at all." Nira's golden eyes filled with something that looked like pain. She looked away from him quickly. "Memory loss can happen after trauma," she said.
"Give it time."
"Your memories might come back." "What kind of trauma?" Taeyang asked. "What happened to me?" "You were found near a crashed ship 3 years ago," Nira explained. She still would not look at him. "You were badly hurt. We brought you here to Velrith to our medical facilities. You have been recovering ever since." 3 years? Taeyang felt panic rising in his chest. He had lost 3 years of his life? "But I do not remember any of it. I do not remember being here. I do not remember you." Nira finally looked at him again. Her face was strange and beautiful, and her expression was full of emotions he could not name. "You have been living here," she said quietly. "You have an apartment, a job, friends. You will remember soon, I promise." But something felt wrong. Taeyang could not explain it, but deep in his chest something told him that Nira was not telling him everything. The way she looked at him, the sadness in her eyes, the way her hands shook slightly when she spoke, she was hiding something. Over the next few days, Taeyang left the medical center. Nira took him to an apartment that she said was his home. It was small but comfortable, with windows that looked out over a city of crystal towers and floating platforms. Everything was alien and strange, but Nira said he had lived here for years. Inside the apartment, he found clothes that fit him. Pictures on the walls showed him smiling with alien people he did not recognize. There were books in both human and alien languages. Everything looked like proof that he had lived here, but none of it felt real. It was like looking at someone else's life. Nira visited him every day. She said she was his doctor, checking on his recovery, but she stayed longer than a doctor needed to stay. She would sit and talk with him about the city, about Velrith, about anything except his past. When he asked about his life before the crash, she would change the subject or say he needed more time to heal. A human man named Hyunwoo came to visit him. He said they were friends, that they worked together at the planetary archives. Hyunwoo seemed nice enough, but their conversations felt strange. It was like Hyunwoo was reading from a script, saying things that friends should say but with no real feeling behind them. "We used to go to the night markets together," Hyunwoo told him with a smile that did not reach his eyes. "You loved the food vendors there." Taeyang nodded, but he felt nothing. No flash of memory. No sense of connection. Just emptiness. At night, the dreams came. They were not good dreams. In them, Taeyang saw fire and heard screaming. He saw himself holding weapons, shouting orders to people in uniforms. He saw ships exploding in space and felt the cold metal of a command chair beneath his hands. He saw blood and death and war. He would wake up sweating and shaking, his heart racing. These dreams felt more real than anything in his waking life. They felt like memories trying to break through the fog in his mind. One evening, while searching through his apartment for anything that might help him remember, Taeyang found something hidden behind a loose panel in the wall. It was a small data chip, the kind humans used to store information. Written on it in handwriting he somehow knew was his own were the words, "Don't trust Nira. Remember Earth." His hands shook as he held the chip. Earth. The word sent a wave of feeling through him that he could not name. Sadness, anger, loss. Something important about Earth. Something terrible. He tried to open the chip on his apartment's computer system, but it was locked with a password. He tried everything he could think of, but nothing worked. The chip held his secrets, his real past, and he could not access it. Nira came to visit him that evening as she did every day. Taiyang watched her carefully as she entered his apartment. She moved with grace, and the light patterns on her skin pulsed gently. She smiled at him, but her eyes were always sad. "How are you feeling today?" she asked. Taeyang held up the data chip. "I found this, hidden in my wall. It has my handwriting on it." All the color drained from Nira's violet face. She stared at the chip like it was a weapon pointed at her heart. "Taeyang, please," she whispered. "Do not open that, please, and why not?" he demanded. "It is mine. I wrote on it." "What am I not supposed to see?" Tears formed in Nira's golden eyes, real tears sliding down her alien face. "Because it will destroy the peace you have now," she said, her voice breaking. "It will bring you nothing but pain. Please, trust me, just leave it alone." "Trust you?" Taeyang stood up, anger flooding through him. "My own message tells me not to trust you. What did you do to me, Nira? What are you hiding?" Nira turned away from him, her shoulders shaking. "I gave you a gift," she whispered. "I gave you peace. I gave you a life without suffering. But you are right. I am hiding the truth from you. And if you open that chip, you will hate me forever." She walked to the door, then stopped. Without turning around, she said, "If you must know the truth, I cannot stop you. But please understand that everything I did because I love you. I have always loved you. That is my crime." Then she was gone, leaving Taeyang alone with the locked chip in his hand and 1,000 questions burning in his mind. The fog was beginning to lift, and he was terrified of what he would see when it cleared completely. Taeyang spent the entire night working on the data chip. He tried password after password, using every word and number that felt important to him. Nothing worked. By morning, his eyes burned with exhaustion, but he refused to give up. This chip held answers, and he needed them more than he needed sleep. Around noon, he finally thought of trying coordinates. Earth's coordinates in the galaxy. His hands shook as he entered the numbers, and suddenly the chip unlocked. A video file appeared on his screen. But before he could open it, someone knocked on his door. It was Hyunwoo, the human who claimed to be his friend. He carried food from the market and wore that same hollow smile. "Thought you might be hungry," Hyunwoo said, setting the food on the table. "You look terrible, by the way. Did you sleep at all?" Taeyang closed his computer quickly. "I am fine. Just thinking about things." Hyunwoo sat down without being invited. "Nira told me you found something." "An old data chip. Listen, Taeyang, maybe you should leave the past alone. You have a good life here now." "Why ruin it?" The words sounded wrong. They sounded practiced, like someone had told Hyunwoo exactly what to say. "You're not really my friend, are you?" Taeyang asked quietly. Hyunwoo's smile faded. He looked uncomfortable. "I am supposed to watch you. Make sure you are okay. Keep you stable. Who told you to do this, Nira?" "The government," Hyunwoo admitted. "Look, I do not know what happened to you before. They do not tell me much, but I know you were important somehow. And I know Nira broke a lot of rules to keep you alive and comfortable. That has to mean something." After Hyunwoo left, Taeyang opened the video file. His own face appeared on the screen, but this version of him looked different, harder. His eyes were cold and tired, and he wore a military uniform that Taeyang did not recognize. "My name is Lieutenant Commander Taeyang," his recorded self said. "If you are watching this, she has already erased you. What I am about to tell you will break your heart and hers, but you deserve to know the truth." The video paused as Taeyang's hands started shaking. Lieutenant Commander? Military? None of this matched the peaceful life Nira showed him. His recorded self continued. I was a soldier, one of humanity's best. They called me the Reaper of Orion because of how many enemies I killed. The war between humans and the Velrith people has been going on for years. Terrible, bloody years. I commanded ships. I led attacks. I destroyed their cities and killed their soldiers by the thousands. Taeyang felt sick. He paused the video and ran to the bathroom, where he threw up everything in his stomach. This could not be true. He could not have done those things. He was not a killer. He was not a monster. But even as he thought this, flashes of memory hit him. Standing on a ship's bridge, giving orders, watching planets burn, the screams of dying aliens in his ears, the weight of a weapon in his hands, the faces of his crew, loyal and trusting, Following him into battle after battle, he went back to the video with tears in his eyes. My ship was shot down over Velrith during what was supposed to be our final attack, recorded Tae-Yang said. Everyone on my crew died except me. I was captured. They brought me to a facility where they were going to question me, torture me for information about Earth's military plans. The woman assigned to interrogate me was a sorceress named Nira. Nira. Beautiful, sad Nira. She had been his interrogator, his enemy. But something happened that no one expected. The recording continued. Nira and I, we talked. For months while I was her prisoner, we talked. About the war, about our peoples, about everything. And slowly, impossibly, we fell in love.
Can you imagine that?
A human soldier and an alien sorceress, enemies from birth, falling in love in the middle of a war. Tae-Yang's chest hurt. He could see it now in his memory, foggy but real. Sitting in a cell. Nira entering with her guards. The first days of anger and hatred. Then the long conversations. Her questions about Earth. His questions about Velrith. The slow realization that they were not so different after all. When the war ended, her government ordered her to execute me, recorded Tae-Yang said, his voice breaking. I was a war criminal. I had killed too many of her people to ever be forgiven. But Nira could not do it. She loved me too much. And I could not live with what I had done. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw the faces of the people I killed. Children, women, innocent civilians caught in my attacks. The guilt was destroying me. The recorded version of himself wiped tears from his eyes, so we made a choice together. Nira would use her magic to erase my memories. All of them. She would create a new identity for me. A new life where I could live in peace without the weight of my crimes. And I agreed. I asked her to do it. Because living with the truth was too painful. The video ended with his past self saying, "If you are watching this, the memory block has failed. I am sorry. I am so sorry that you have to know what we did." What I did. Nira only wanted to give us both a chance at happiness. Please do not hate her for it. If you must hate someone, hate me. I am the monster, not her. Tae-Yang sat in silence for a long time. The apartment around him felt like a cage now. A beautiful cage, but a cage nonetheless. Everything was a lie. His job, his friends, his peaceful life. All of it built on magic and guilt and love. He needed answers. Real answers. He left his apartment and went to the public information network, accessing the planetary database. He searched for information about the war, about human Velrith conflict, about himself. The records were there, though many were classified. 5 years ago, the war had ended after nearly a decade of fighting, thousands dead on both sides, cities destroyed, families torn apart. And there, in the classified military records he managed to hack into, was his name, Lieutenant Commander Tae-Yang. The Reaper of Orion, humanity's greatest weapon, responsible for the destruction of 4 Velrith colony worlds and the deaths of over 30,000 enemy soldiers and civilians. Wanted for war crimes by the Velrith government. Status: deceased, ship destroyed in final battle. But he was not dead. He was here, living under a false identity, protected by the very woman who was supposed to have killed him. That night, Nira came to his apartment. She looked exhausted, the light patterns on her skin dim and flickering. She knew before he said anything. "You opened the chip," she said quietly. "I remember," Tae-Yang replied. His voice sounded dead even to his own ears. "Not everything, but enough. I remember the war. I remember you coming to my cell. I remember falling in love with you even though we were enemies." Nira collapsed into a chair, covering her face with her hands. "I am so sorry. I know you must hate me now. I took away your choice. I took away your identity. I played with your mind like it was a toy. Did I really ask you to do it?" Tae-Yang asked. "Yes," Nira whispered. "You were suffering so much. The guilt was killing you. You could not sleep, could not eat. You told me you would rather die than live with the memories of what you had done. So I offered you another option, a clean slate, a new beginning. And you loved me enough to risk everything for that," Tae-Yang said. Nira looked up at him with tears streaming down her face. "I loved you more than my duty, more than my people, more than my own life. I still do. That is why I must tell you something else. Your survival has been discovered. Both my government and yours now know you are alive. They are coming for us. We need to run." Before Tae-Yang could respond, his apartment door exploded inward. Armed soldiers in Velrith armor poured into the room, weapons raised. Behind them came humans in military gear, their faces hard and angry. A woman's voice shouted, "Tae-yang! Get away from the alien! She has corrupted your mind." Tae-yang recognized the voice immediately, though he did not understand how. Commander Daeun, his second in command from the war. His friend. She was here, and she had come to save him from the monster he loved. The standoff in Tae-yang's apartment lasted only seconds, but it felt like hours. Velrith soldiers on one side, human soldiers on the other, and Tae-yang standing between them with Nira at his back. Daeun pushed through her soldiers, her weapon still raised. She was older than Tae-yang remembered, with scars on her face that told stories of battles fought after his supposed death. Her eyes were hard and full of rage when she looked at Nira. "Step away from him," Daeun commanded. "That thing has poisoned your mind, Commander. We are here to bring you home." "Home?" Tae-yang asked. His memories were still returning in pieces, but he remembered Daeun clearly now. She had been his most loyal officer, his friend through the darkest days of the war. "Earth is not my home anymore." The Velrith commander, a tall alien with silver skin, spoke in their musical language. Nira translated quietly. "They say I broke the law by keeping you alive. I am under arrest for treason. They will execute me." "No one is executing anyone," Tae-yang said, his voice growing stronger. Combat instincts he did not know he still had were waking up inside him. His body remembered things his mind had forgotten. How to move. How to fight. How to survive. Daeun's face softened slightly. "Commander, we thought you were dead. We mourned you. When we discovered you were alive, being held by the enemy, being brainwashed by alien magic, we came as fast as we could. Please, come with us. Let us bring you home and fix what she did to you." "Fix me?" Tae-yang felt anger rising. "Daeun, she did not break me. The war broke me. What I did in that war broke me. Nira gave me peace. Peace built on lies," Daeun shot back. "She made you forget who you are. She made you forget your duty, your crew, your people. She made you forget me. That hurt." Tae-yang could see the pain in Daeun's eyes, pain that went beyond military duty. They had been more than commander and officer. They had been true friends who survived hell together. "I did not want to forget," Tae-yang said quietly, "but I could not live with the memories. Every person I killed, every city I destroyed, every order I gave that sent good people to their deaths. It was too much, Daeun. It was killing me from the inside." More memories flooded back. He remembered the final battle clearly now. His ship, the Reaper's Edge, fighting against impossible odds. His crew dying around him one by one. Daeun's voice over the communications, screaming at him to retreat. His refusal because retreat meant failure, and he never failed. He remembered the Velrith battle mages attacking his ship. Nira had been among them. Her magic had torn through his defenses like paper. She had been magnificent and terrible, a warrior defending her people. She had killed his crew, all of them except him. When he crashed, he had been ready to die. He wanted to die, but they pulled him from the wreckage and brought him to that cell. "I remember now," Tae-yang said, looking at Nira. "You killed my crew. Your magic destroyed my ship and everyone on it." Nira's face was full of agony. "Yes," she whispered, "I did. I was following orders, defending my world, but I still did it. Their faces haunt me every day. That is my burden to carry, see?" Daeun said. "She is a murderer. She killed our people and then brainwashed you to make you forget. This is not love, Commander. This is the enemy playing tricks," but Tae-yang shook his head. The memories were clearer now. He remembered the months in that cell, Nira coming to question him but instead asking about human poetry, about music, about why humans loved so much yet killed so easily. He remembered defending his actions at first, then slowly questioning them. Had he been right to destroy those colonies? Had following orders been enough justification? He remembered the moment everything changed. Nira had asked him, "If you could undo any one thing from this war, what would it be?" And he had broken down crying, telling her about a little Velrith girl he saw die in one of his attacks, how her face appeared in his dreams every night. Nira had cried with him that day, and that was when they both realized they were not enemies anymore. "She gave me something Earth never could," Tae-yang said to Daeun. "She gave me forgiveness. Not for what I did, but for being human enough to regret it." "Humans do not need alien forgiveness," Daeun replied coldly. "We were right to fight." "They started the war, did they?" Tae-yang asked. "Or is that just what we were told?" "Nira says her people believe humans started it. Maybe nobody remembers the truth anymore. The Velrith commander barked orders. His soldiers moved closer, weapons charging. The human soldiers did the same. The apartment was about to become a battlefield. Wait, Nira said, stepping forward with her hands raised. Please, all of you, wait. I will surrender. I will face punishment for my crimes. Just let Tae-Yang go free. He is innocent in all of this, innocent. The Velrith commander spat. He killed thousands of our people. He burned our worlds. Innocent? Dayun echoed. He is a war hero, not a criminal. And you corrupted him with your magic. Tae-Yang realized that nobody here cared about the truth. The Velrith wanted revenge. The humans wanted their weapon back. Nira wanted to save him, and he wanted something none of them could give him, a chance to choose his own path. I am not going with either of you, Tae-Yang said. His voice carried the command tone he had not used in years. I am not your prisoner, and I am not your soldier anymore. I make my own choices now. Daun's face hardened. Then you leave us no choice, Commander. We have orders to retrieve you by any means necessary, even if we have to drag you back unconscious. The first shot came from somewhere. Tae-Yang never knew which side fired it. Maybe it did not matter. The apartment exploded into violence. Instinct took over. Tae-Yang moved without thinking, his body remembering training that his mind had forgotten. He grabbed Nira and pulled her down as energy weapons fired overhead. The Velrith and human soldiers were shooting at each other now, the small space becoming a war zone. The window, Nira gasped. I can get us out through the window. We are 20 floors up, Tae-Yang said. Trust me, Nira replied. Her eyes glowed with golden light as she raised her hands. Magic poured from her fingers, forming a shield around them. Tae-Yang picked her up and ran for the window, crashing through it as weapons fire chased them. They fell. The ground rushed up to meet them. Tae-Yang held Nira tight, expecting death, but her magic caught them. It felt like falling into water, the spell slowing their descent until they landed gently on a street far below. Nira collapsed in his arms, exhausted from the magic. Run, she whispered. Please, run. Tae-Yang carried her into the maze of streets and alleys that made up the lower city. Behind them, he could hear soldiers from both sides giving chase. He ran until his lungs burned, taking turns randomly, using every trick he remembered from his military training to lose pursuers. Finally, when he could run no more, he ducked into an abandoned building and hid in the shadows. Nira was barely conscious in his arms, her skin pale and the light patterns dim. Why did you do that? He asked her quietly. You could have let them take me. You would have been safe. Safe without you is not living, Nira whispered. I would rather die free with you than live safely without you. Tae-Yang held her closer. All his memories were back now. The good and the terrible. He remembered being the Reaper, the killer, the monster. But he also remembered being Tae-Yang, the man who fell in love with his enemy and chose mercy over revenge. We cannot run forever, he said. I know, Nira replied. But for now, for this moment, we are together and we are free. That is enough. Outside sirens wailed as search teams spread through the city. Tae-Yang knew they would be found eventually. Both governments wanted them dead or captured. There was nowhere in the galaxy they could truly hide. But as he held Nira in the darkness, feeling her heartbeat against his chest, Tae-Yang realized something important. He had spent years killing in the name of duty. He had destroyed lives because he was ordered to. For the first time in his life, he was making a choice based purely on what he believed was right. And he chose love over duty. He chose Nira over everything else. For 3 days, Tae-Yang and Nira hid in the undercity of Velrith's capital. The lower levels were a maze of forgotten tunnels and abandoned buildings where the city's outcasts lived. Here nobody asked questions and everyone minded their own business. Nira was getting weaker. Using so much magic to save them had drained her badly. She could barely walk, and the light patterns on her skin flickered like dying stars. Tae-Yang found them shelter in an old storage facility, and did his best to care for her, but he was not a doctor. He could only watch helplessly as she got worse. More memories returned every day. They came in waves that left Tae-Yang shaking and sick. He remembered battles in perfect detail now. The faces of enemies he killed, the sound of ships exploding, the smell of burning cities. Each memory was a weight on his chest, making it harder to breathe. He also remembered his crew. Good people who trusted him and followed his orders to their deaths. Ji-Hoon, his pilot who loved bad jokes and had a wife waiting for him back on Earth. Subin, his weapons officer, who dreamed of becoming a teacher after the war. Young Taimin, barely 20 years old, who died screaming in the attack that destroyed their ship, all dead because of him, because he refused to retreat, because winning was more important than their lives. You are thinking about them again, Nira said weakly from her makeshift bed. I can see it on your face. Taeyang looked at her. Even sick and exhausted, she was beautiful. But he also saw her differently now. She was the weapon that killed his crew. Her magic had torn them apart. How do you live with it, he asked. Knowing you killed them? I do not live with it well, Nira admitted. I see their faces too. In my dreams they ask me why. Why did I kill them? And I have no good answer except that I was ordered to, that I was defending my people. But does that make it right? I do not know anymore. We are both killers, Taeyang said quietly, both of us trying to run from what we did. Maybe we deserve to be caught, Nira whispered. Maybe we deserve punishment for our crimes. Before Taeyang could respond, someone knocked on their hiding place. He grabbed a metal pipe ready to fight, but a human voice called out. Easy there, Commander. I am not here to hurt you. A human woman entered. She was small and tough-looking, with scars on her hands and a knowing smile. My name is Jiwon, she said. I deal in information and hard-to-find items. Word on the street is that the famous Reaper of Orion is hiding in my territory. That is quite interesting. How did you find us? Taeyang demanded. I make it my business to know everything that happens down here, Jiwon replied. She looked at Nira with calculating eyes. Your alien girlfriend is dying, by the way. Magic exhaustion. She needs treatment soon or her body will shut down completely. Can you help her? Taeyang asked, hating how desperate he sounded. Maybe, Jiwon said. For a price. Information is valuable, Commander. Your story, your memories, what you know about military operations. That would be worth a lot to certain people. I will not betray Earth's secrets, Taeyang said. Jiwon laughed. The war is over. Your secrets are not worth much anymore. But your story? A human commander who fell in love with the enemy? Who let an alien sorceress erase his memories to escape guilt? That story is worth gold. Tell me everything and I will get your girl the treatment she needs. Taeyang looked at Nira, who was barely breathing now. He had no choice. Fine, but help her first. Jiwon brought a Velrith healer, an old male who asked no questions and took no payment. He examined Nira and shook his head sadly. She has used too much magic too quickly, he said in broken human language. Her life force is burning out. I can stabilize her, but to truly save her, she needs to restore her memories fully. What does that mean? Taeyang asked. The healer explained that Nira's magic was connected to memory. When she erased Taeyang's memories, she had stored them inside herself. When she tried to return them, she did it too slowly, too carefully, trying to spare him pain. But holding his memories in hers was killing her. She needed to give them all back at once, but that could destroy his mind, the healer warned. Getting all memories back suddenly without preparation is very dangerous. Many go mad from it. Do it, Taeyang said immediately. I would rather be mad than let her die. No, Nira protested weakly. You do not know what you are asking. The full weight of everything you did, everything you felt all at once, it could break you. Then it breaks me, Taeyang said, taking her hand. You gave me peace when I needed it. Now let me give you life. The ritual took hours. Nira, with the healer's help, placed her hands on Taeyang's head. Golden light poured from her into him, and the memories came like a flood. Everything hit him at once. Not just the war, but his entire life. His childhood on Earth, his training at the military academy, his first command, every battle, every decision, every person who died because of him. But also the good memories. His crew's laughter, Taeyeon teaching him to play cards, the quiet moments between battles when they were just people trying to survive. And then the most painful memories of all, meeting Nira in his cell, their first conversation where they hated each other, the slow thaw as they talked more, the day they both realized they had fallen in love with someone they were supposed to kill. The impossible choice they made together, Taeyang screamed as it all poured into him. The guilt, the love, the pain, the joy, the horror of war, and the beauty of connection, it was too much. His mind could not hold it all, but then he felt Nira's presence in his thoughts, guiding him, helping him sort through the flood. Her own memories mixed with his. He saw through her eyes as she fought his ship, felt her horror at what she had to do, understood that she was just like him, a soldier following orders and trying to survive. When it was over, Taeyang collapsed. His mind was whole again. Every memory restored. Every moment of his life clear and sharp. And it hurt more than he ever imagined. But Nira was breathing easier now. The light patterns on her skin were brighter. She had given him back his burden and in doing so saved her own life. "Are you okay?" she asked, her voice stronger now. "No," Taeyang answered honestly. "I remember everything. Every terrible thing I did. Every person I killed. It is all there and it is crushing me." "I am sorry," Nira whispered. "Do not be," Taeyang said, pulling her close. "This is who I am. The monster and the man. I cannot run from it anymore. I have to carry it." Ji-won watched this all with interest. True to her word, she sat with Taeyang for hours afterward, recording his story. He told her everything. The war from his perspective. Meeting Nira, their choice. His life with erased memories. All of it. "This is quite a tale," Ji-won said when he finished. "People will want to hear this. Both sides will want to use it for propaganda." "I do not care anymore," Taeyang said. "Let them use it however they want. Maybe someone will learn something from our mistakes." But Ji-won's smile faded. "I should tell you something, Commander. When I said I deal in information, I meant all kinds, including information about fugitives. I already told the human military where you are. They paid very well for the location." Taeyang's blood ran cold. "You betrayed us?" "Business is business," Ji-won said with a shrug. "But I gave you a few hours head start. Consider it professional courtesy. Now run. They will be here soon." Taeyang picked up Nira, who was still weak but recovering. "Why warn us at all?" he asked Ji-won. The woman's expression softened for just a moment. "Because I had someone I loved once. Lost them in this stupid war. Seeing you two together reminded me what that felt like. So run, Commander, and maybe somewhere out there, you will find peace." They ran again into the tunnels of the Undercity. Behind them, Taeyang heard the sound of soldiers approaching. This time it was only human soldiers. This time it was Daeun's team, and she would not let him escape again. As they fled deeper into the darkness, Nira said quietly, "Thank you. For taking back your memories. For saving me." "You saved me first," Taeyang replied. "Now we are even. Now we survive together or die together." In the distance, Daeun's voice echoed through the tunnels.
Taeyang.
"Stop running!"
"Let me bring you home." But home was not Earth anymore. Home was wherever Nira was. And Taeyang would fight anyone, even his oldest friend, to protect that home. The abandoned warehouse stank of rust and decay. Taeyang set Nira down behind some old containers and checked his surroundings. They had run for hours through the Undercity tunnels until they could run no more. Now they were trapped, with human soldiers closing in from all sides. Taeyang had no weapons except a piece of metal pipe. Against trained soldiers with modern weapons, he had no chance. But he would fight anyway. He would not let them take Nira without a fight. "You should leave me," Nira said weakly. "Go with them. They are your people." "My people want to tear us apart," Taeyang replied. "That makes them my enemy now." The warehouse doors burst open. Daeun entered with a full tactical team, weapons raised and ready. She looked tired and sad, like this chase had cost her more than she wanted to admit. "It is over, Commander," Daeun said. "There is nowhere left to run. Come with us peacefully and nobody has to get hurt." "What about Nira?" Taeyang demanded. "What happens to her?" "She is a war criminal," Daeun said flatly. "She killed our people. She used illegal magic on your mind. Earth Command wants her executed." "No," Taeyang said, stepping in front of Nira. "If you want her, you go through me." Pain crossed Daeun's face. "Do not make me do this. Do not make me choose between my duty and my friend. I lost you once already. I mourned you. Do you know what it was like when we got word you were alive? I was so happy. I thought I could bring you home. But look at you now, defending the enemy who destroyed your mind." "She did not destroy my mind," Taeyang said. "The war did that. She just tried to give me peace. Is that really a crime worth dying for?" Daeun lowered her weapon slightly. "Tell me the truth. Did you really ask her to erase your memories? Or did she do it without permission?" "I asked her," Taeyang admitted. "I begged her, actually, because I could not live with what I had done. Every night I saw the faces of the people I killed. Children. Yun. I killed children when we bombed those colony worlds. Told myself it was necessary, that they were enemy civilians who would grow up to fight us. But they were just children. Daun's face hardened. They were enemy civilians. We had no choice. There is always a choice, Taeyang said. We just did not want to see it. We let ourselves believe that killing was the only option because it was easier than finding another way. You sound like them now, Daun said with disgust. Like you have forgotten you are human. I have not forgotten, Taeyang replied. But being human does not mean being right. It just means being human. We make mistakes. We hurt people. And sometimes we need to admit that we were wrong. One of Daun's soldiers spoke up. Commander, Velrith forces are approaching from the east. We have maybe 5 minutes before they arrive. Daun cursed. Of course they tracked us here. They want the Sorceress just as badly as we do. She looked at Taeyang with frustration. Do you see what you have done? You have started an international incident. Both governments are ready to go to war again over this. Then maybe this war never really ended, Taeyang said. Maybe we just stopped shooting for a while. The Velrith soldiers arrived exactly as predicted. They surrounded the warehouse from the other side, cutting off all exits. Their commander was the same silver-skinned alien from before. He looked furious. Surrender the traitor Nira, he demanded in his musical language. Nira translated weakly for Taeyang. She has committed treason against her people. Her punishment is death. Funny, Daun called out. We were just about to say the same thing. The human criminal is ours. Criminal, the Velrith commander repeated. He is a mass murderer. He burned our worlds and killed our people. Justice demands his execution. The two forces faced each other across the warehouse floor. Taeyang and Nira were caught in the middle, both sides wanting them dead. The situation was spiraling out of control. Wait, Taeyang shouted. Everyone just wait. Before you start killing each other, listen to me. Both of you say you want justice, but what does that mean? Is justice just revenge? Just making the other side hurt as much as we hurt? You do. Not get to talk about justice, the Velrith commander spat. You are the Reaper. You destroyed everything you touched. Yes, I did, Taeyang said. And I will carry that guilt until I die. But killing me will not bring back the people I killed. It will not heal the wounds I caused. It will just add one more body to the pile. Is that really what you want? What we want is irrelevant, Daun said. We have orders. Orders to retrieve you and eliminate the alien threat. Orders, Taeyang laughed bitterly. I've followed orders my whole life. Orders to kill, orders to destroy, orders to turn off my conscience and do terrible things in the name of duty. And where did it get me? Here. Broken and hunted by everyone. He stepped forward, making sure both sides could see him clearly. I am tired of orders. I am tired of duty. I am tired of people telling me that killing is necessary. So here is what I am going to do. I am going to stand here with the woman I love, and if you want to execute us, you are going to have to shoot through both of us. No surrender, no running, just a choice. Make peace or make war. Daun's hand shook on her weapon. Taeyang, please. Do not do this. Come home. We can figure this out. Home is not a place anymore, Taeyang said gently. Home is standing next to someone who sees all of you, the good and the terrible, and loves you anyway. That is what Nira is to me. That is what you are losing by following these orders. The Velrith commander looked uncertain now. You speak of love, but love does not erase crimes. Both of you must answer for what you have done. Then let us answer together, Nira said, finding strength to stand. She leaned heavily on Taeyang but stood tall. Kill us both or let us both go. But do not pretend that separating us is justice. It is just cruelty. For a long moment nobody moved. The soldiers on both sides waited for orders from their commanders. Daun and the Velrith commander stared at each other, both trying to decide what to do. Then something unexpected happened. One of the human soldiers, a young man barely out of training, lowered his weapon. I do not want to shoot him, he said quietly. He is a war hero. He fought for us. Shooting him feels wrong. I lost my sister in the Reaper's attack on our third colony, one of the Velrith soldiers said. But looking at him now, seeing him choose love over hate, I wonder if killing him would honor her memory or just continue the cycle of violence. More soldiers on both sides began lowering their weapons. They were all tired of war, tired of killing, tired of following orders that made them feel like monsters. Dayun saw this and made a decision. She slowly lowered her own weapon. I cannot follow these orders, she said. Not if it means killing my friend. Not if it means proving that we learned nothing from this war. The Velrith commander hesitated, then did the same. If the humans will not fight, neither will we. But this is not over. Both governments will send more soldiers. You have bought time, nothing more. Time is all we need, Taiyang said. He took Nira's hand. Thank you, Dayun. Thank you for choosing friendship over duty. Dayun's eyes were wet with tears. I cannot go home after this. Disobeying orders, letting a war criminal escape. I will be court-martialed. Then come with us, Taiyang offered. There is a place called Threshold, a neutral planet where refugees from the war go. We can all start over there. I cannot, Da'un said sadly. Someone needs to stay and tell Earth Command the truth. That the Reaper is not a prisoner of alien magic. That he is just a man who made a choice. Maybe it will change minds, maybe it will not. But someone has to try. The Velrith commander nodded slowly. I will do the same for my people. Tell them that vengeance is not the same as justice. That maybe it is time to truly end this war. As Taiyang and Nira slipped away into the shadows, Da'un called out one last time. Taiyang, if you had to do it all over again, would you still choose her? Taiyang looked at Nira, at her tired smile and her bright golden eyes. He thought about everything they had been through. The pain, the guilt, the fear, but also the love, the understanding, the connection that transcended war and hate. Every single time, he answered. I would choose her every single time. They disappeared into the Undercity, leaving behind soldiers who would have to explain to their commanders why they let the most wanted fugitives in the galaxy escape. But for now, for this moment, they were free. And sometimes freedom was worth any price. The transport ship to Threshold was old and smelled like rust and recycled air. Taiyang and Nira paid their passage with the last of their credits and spent 3 days hidden in the cargo hold, afraid that someone would recognize them. Threshold was different from anything Taiyang had seen. The planet had no government of its own. It was neutral territory, established after the war as a place where refugees from all sides could live in peace. No soldiers, no weapons, no hatred, just people trying to start over. The main settlement was a patchwork city built from salvaged parts of destroyed ships and old colony structures. Humans lived next to Velrith and a dozen other alien species. Everyone here had lost something in the war. Everyone here was running from something. A human man named Dong Min met them at the landing platform. He was older, with kind eyes and hands scarred from hard work. You are the ones Da'un contacted us about, he said. The Reaper and his Sorceress. We have been expecting you. You know who I am? Taiyang asked warily. Everyone here knows who you are, Dongmin said with a sad smile. Your story reached us before you did. A human soldier who fell in love with the enemy. An alien woman who chose mercy over duty. You are famous now, whether you want to be or not. He led them through the city streets. People stared as they passed. Some looked curious. Others looked angry. A few looked hopeful. Taiyang kept Nira close, ready to protect her if needed. Do not worry, Dongmin said. Violence is not allowed here. If anyone tries to hurt you, the community will remove them. That is our only rule. No violence for any reason. They were given a small apartment in one of the older buildings. It was not much, just 2 rooms with basic furniture, but it was theirs. Safe. Private. Home. Nira collapsed on the bed the moment they were alone. She looked worse than ever. The magical exhaustion was still affecting her, and the stress of running had made it worse. Her skin was pale and she could barely keep her eyes open. Rest, Taiyang said, covering her with a blanket. You are safe now. You can rest. We are never safe, Nira whispered. They will find us eventually. Both governments want us dead. Running just delays the inevitable. Then we delay it as long as we can, Taeyang replied. He kissed her forehead gently. Sleep now. I will watch over you. Over the next few weeks, they slowly settled into life on Threshold. Taeyang found work in construction, helping to build new structures for arriving refugees. The work was hard and simple, and he was grateful for both. It kept his mind busy and his hands occupied. He met other humans who had integrated with alien cultures. A woman named Mi Kyung who married a Velrith engineer and had children with strange, beautiful features that were both human and alien. An old soldier called Jae Hyun, who lost his entire family in the war but found peace teaching alien children about Earth's history. These people showed Taeyang that it was possible to move forward. That guilt did not have to destroy you. That healing was slow and painful but real. But Nira was not healing. If anything, she was getting worse. She barely ate, barely slept. The light patterns on her skin grew dimmer each day. Taeyang watched helplessly as the woman he loved faded away. Finally, he went to find help. Dongmin directed him to a Velrith healer named Bora who lived on the edge of the settlement. She was old and wise, with silver hair and eyes that seemed to see through everything. Bora examined Nira carefully, then shook her head. The magic she used to erase and restore memories is forbidden for good reason, she explained. It cost too much life force. Every memory she wove for you took years from her life. And now she is paying the price, and how do I save her? Taeyang demanded. You cannot, Bora said gently. The damage is done. She knew this would happen. She chose to save you anyway. Taeyang felt his world crumbling. There must be something. Some magic, some treatment. The only thing that might help is time, Bora said. Rest, peace, no more magic. Her body might recover slowly, but she will never have her full magical strength again. She burned too much of herself to give you peace. Taeyang sat with Nira that night, holding her hand and watching her sleep. She had sacrificed her power, her future, possibly her life, all for him, because she loved him, because she could not bear to see him suffer. I am not worth it, he whispered to her sleeping form. I am just a broken soldier who killed too many people. You should have let me die. But Nira's fingers squeezed his hand weakly. She was awake after all. You are worth everything, she said quietly. You are worth my magic, my life, my soul. Do not ever doubt that. You are dying because of me, Taeyang said, tears running down his face. I am living because of you, Nira corrected. For the first time in my life, I chose something for myself instead of following orders. I chose love. I chose you, and I would do it again. Days passed. Nira got a little stronger, enough to walk around the apartment and sit in the sun. But Bora's diagnosis was clear. Nira would never be the powerful sorceress she once was. She had traded her magic for Taeyang's peace, and that trade was permanent. One evening, Bora visited them with news. I have been researching something, she said. The war between humans and Velrith. I found evidence that might interest you. She showed them documents and communications she had collected over years. They told a disturbing story. The war had not started naturally. A third species called the Krethic Empire had manipulated both sides. They sold weapons to humans and Velrith both, profiting from the conflict. They had even staged attacks to look like each side was attacking the other. The war was a lie, Bora said. Not all of it, of course. Real people died. Real hatred grew. But the initial spark, the reason everything started, was manufactured by the Krethic. They made humans and Velrith into enemies so they could profit. Taeyang felt sick. All those people he killed, all those orders he followed. Based on a lie? Does anyone else know this? Some people suspect, Bora said. But the Krethic are powerful. They have silenced those who tried to speak out. This evidence I found is incomplete, not enough to prove anything to either government. But it is a start, Nira said, sitting up with effort. It is proof that the war did not have to happen, that we were all victims of manipulation. What good does that do us? Taeyang asked bitterly. Knowing the war was based on lies does not bring back the dead. Does not erase what I did, no, Bora agreed. But it might stop the next war. If humans in Velrith knew the truth, they might think twice before fighting again. They might demand answers from the Krethic. That night Taeyang could not sleep. He thought about all the soldiers who died under his command. All the alien civilians killed in his attacks. Were they all sacrifices to the Krethic's greed? Pieces in a game they never understood? The anger inside him was different from before. Not self-hatred for what he did, but fury at those who made him do it. The Krethic had used him like a weapon. They had used everyone, human and Velrith, as tools to make profit. We need to expose them, he said to Nira the next morning. The Krethic. We need to make sure everyone knows what they did. How? Nira asked. We are fugitives. Who would listen to us? Someone will, Taeyang said. Someone has to. But before they could make any plans, an emergency broadcast came through to every screen on Threshold. Taeyang's face appeared along with Nira's. They were both labeled as dangerous fugitives and terrorists. Daun appeared on the screen next. She looked beaten down, exhausted. I am Commander Daun of Earth's military forces, she said. I am here to issue an ultimatum to the settlement of Threshold. You are harboring two wanted criminals, the human Taeyang and the Velrith sorceress Nira. Surrender them within 24 hours, or we will consider Threshold a hostile territory and act accordingly. The broadcast ended. Taeyang and Nira looked at each other in horror. Daun had found them, and this time she was not coming to talk. She was coming to end this one way or another. Dongmin appeared at their door minutes later. You need to leave, he said. If you stay, they will attack the entire settlement. Hundreds of innocent people will die. We will turn ourselves in, Taeyang said immediately. We will not let anyone else get hurt because of us. No, Nira said firmly. If we surrender, they will execute us. And nothing will change. The truth about the Krethic will stay hidden. The cycle of war will continue. Then what do we do? Taeyang asked. Nira smiled sadly. We fight. Not with weapons. With truth. We have 24 hours to expose everything. To make sure the whole galaxy knows what really happened. If we are going to die anyway, let us die making it mean something. Taeyang pulled her close. Outside, the settlement was in chaos as people debated what to do. Some wanted to hand them over to save themselves. Others wanted to protect them. Violence threatened to break out despite the settlement's rules. And somewhere above the planet, Daun's ship was waiting, ready to destroy everything if they did not surrender. Time was running out. The 24 hours passed too quickly. Taeyang and Nira spent every minute gathering evidence with Bora's help. They compiled documents, communications, transaction records, everything that proved the Krethic Empire had manipulated both humans and Velrith into war. But evidence meant nothing if nobody would listen. That was why, as the deadline approached, Taeyang made a choice that terrified him. I am going to surrender, he told Nira. I am going to walk into Daun's ship and face Earth Command directly, and I am going to make them listen. They will kill you, Nira said, her golden eyes wide with fear. Maybe, Taeyang admitted. But maybe they will listen first. Daun is my friend. She let us escape once. Some part of her still believes in doing what is right instead of just following orders. Then I am coming with you, Nira said firmly. No, Taeyang shook his head. You are too weak. The journey would kill you. And living without you would kill me faster, Nira replied. We started this together. We end it together. They walked to the settlement's landing platform as the deadline expired. Above them, 3 human warships hung in the sky like predators. Below, the settlement's people watched in silence. Some cried, others prayed. Everyone knew that what happened next would determine if Threshold survived. A shuttle descended from Daun's flagship. The hatch opened, and Daun herself stepped out with a squad of heavily armed soldiers. She looked at Taeyang and Nira with an expression that was half relief, half sorrow. You came, she said quietly. I was not sure you would. I'm tired of running, Taeyang said. And I am tired of people suffering because of me. Take us, but leave Threshold alone. These people did nothing wrong. Daun nodded slowly. Earth Command agrees. If you surrender peacefully, we will leave the settlement untouched. She glanced at Nira. But the sorceress must be handed over to Velrith authorities. Those are our orders. No, Taeyang said. We surrender together or not at all. Taeyang, Daun said with frustration. I am trying to save your life. If you keep protecting her, they will execute you both. Then execute us, Taeyang said calmly. But first, you need to hear what we discovered. About the war. About why it really started. Daun hesitated. What are you talking about? Give us 1 hour, Taeyang said. 1 hour to present evidence to you and your commanders. If you still want to execute us after that, we will not resist. But you owe us that much. You owe it to everyone who died in this war. Daun looked at her soldiers, then back at Taeyang. Finally, she sighed. 1 hour. But if you try anything, my soldiers will shoot. They went up to the flagship. Taeyang carried Nira, who was too exhausted to walk. The ship's interior was cold and metallic. Nothing like the warm chaos of Threshold. It felt like returning to prison. Daeyun brought them to a conference room where 3 Earth Command officers waited. They looked at Taeyang with a mixture of pity and disgust. They looked at Nira like she was a dangerous animal. Speak, Daeun said. You have 1 hour. Taeyang presented everything. The documents Bora had found, the evidence of Krethic manipulation, the proof that both sides had been played against each other for profit. He spoke clearly and calmly, laying out facts without emotion. The officers listened in silence. When Taeyang finished, the senior commander, a gray-haired woman named Admiral Hansol, shook her head. This proves nothing, she said coldly. These documents could be faked. And even if they are real, what does it matter? The Krethic may have started the conflict, but humans and Velrith chose to continue it. We chose to hate each other. That is on us, not them. Exactly, Taeyang said. We chose hatred, but we can also choose something different. We can choose to stop, to admit we were manipulated, to forgive. Forgive? Admiral Hansol laughed bitterly. Forgive the aliens who killed thousands of our people? Forgive you for betraying your own species for one of them? I did not betray humanity, Taeyang said. I found it. Real humanity. Not the propaganda version where we are always right and everyone else is the enemy, but the messy, complicated version where we can love someone different from us, where we can admit we made mistakes. Pretty speech, Admiral Hansol said, but it does not change anything. You are still a deserter. She is still a war criminal. You both face execution. Nira spoke for the first time, her voice weak but steady. Before you execute me, I have a gift for you. Something only a memory sorceress can give. She raised her hands. Golden light poured from her fingers, and suddenly the entire room was filled with images. Not just images, but feelings, memories, experiences. Nira was sharing her perspective of the war. The human officers suddenly saw through alien eyes. They felt what it was like to watch human ships destroy Velrith colonies. They experienced the fear and grief of Velrith families hiding from human attacks. They saw Velrith soldiers just like human soldiers, scared and young and trying to survive. They felt Nira's horror when she destroyed Taeyang's ship. The guilt that haunted her. The moment she realized that the human commander she was supposed to interrogate was just a broken man who hated what he had become. And they felt the love. The impossible, beautiful love between 2 people who should have been enemies but chose to be something more. When the magic faded, Nira collapsed. Taeyang caught her, feeling her body go limp in his arms. She had used the last of her magical strength for this. She might have just killed herself to make these humans understand. Admiral Hansol had tears on her face. She wiped them away angrily.
What?
What was that? Truth, Nira whispered. The truth that war makes monsters of us all. Human and Velrith, we are not different. We are the same, hurting each other because we are afraid. Daeun was crying openly now. I saw it. I saw what we did to them, how they suffered just like we suffered. She looked at Taeyang. How do you live with this? Knowing what we did. You carry it, Taeyang said simply. You acknowledge it. And you try to do better. For a long moment, nobody spoke. Then Admiral Hansol stood up. Commander Daeun, send this recording to Earth Command, all of it. The evidence about the Krethic and the Sorceress's memory sharing. Let them decide what to do. And them? Daeun asked, gesturing to Taeyang and Nira. They stay in custody until we hear back, Admiral Hansol said. But no execution. Not yet, maybe not ever. I need time to think about what we just witnessed. They were taken to a detention cell that was surprisingly comfortable. Nira was given medical treatment, though the human doctors shook their heads sadly. She had burned through too much of her life force. She was dying, and there was nothing they could do. Taeyang sat beside her bed, holding her hand. You should not have done that, he said quietly. Used your magic. It might have killed you. If it helps end this stupid war, it was worth it, Nira replied. She smiled weakly. Besides, I needed to do something dramatic. You humans appreciate dramatic gestures. We do, Taeyang admitted, laughing through tears. We really do. 5 days later, everything changed. Earth Command reviewed the evidence and Nira's shared memories. More importantly, they shared it with Velrith leadership. For the first time since the war began, both sides sat down to talk instead of fight. The Krethic Empire was exposed. Trade sanctions were placed on them. Their manipulation was revealed to the entire galaxy. It did not undo the damage they caused, but it prevented them from doing it again. And more importantly, humans and Velrith began peace negotiations. Real ones this time. Not just ceasefires, but actual attempts at understanding and healing. Tae-Yang and Nira were not executed. Instead, they were pardoned by both governments. Their story became a symbol, proof that enemies could become allies, that love was stronger than hatred. They returned to Threshold, where the settlement celebrated their survival. But Nira was still weak, still dying slowly from magical exhaustion. 5 years passed. They were good years despite everything. Tae-Yang and Nira lived quietly in their small apartment. They watched as Threshold grew from a refugee camp into a real city. They saw humans and Velrith working together, building something new. Nira never regained her magical strength. But she said she did not need it. She had something better: peace, love, and a future. One evening they sat together watching the sunset. Ships from both civilizations passed overhead. No longer enemies, but not quite friends. Still learning. Still healing. Do you regret it? Tae-Yang asked. Giving me those 3 years of peace? Using your magic to hide the truth? Nira leaned against him, her violet skin warm in the fading light. I regret nothing, she said, except maybe not doing it sooner. Maybe if I had talked to you during the war instead of just fighting, things would have been different. Or maybe things happened exactly as they needed to, Tae-Yang said. All the pain, all the guilt, all the running, it led us here. To this moment. To this peace. Please forgive me, human, Nira said quietly, repeating the words she had said so many times before. For taking your memories. For playing with your mind. For making choices that were not mine to make. Tae-Yang pulled her closer. There's nothing to forgive. You gave me a second chance at life. You gave me love when I deserved only hatred. You sacrificed everything for me. How could I ever be angry about that? Because I took your choice, Nira said. And I chose you, Tae-Yang replied. Every single day since my memories returned, I have chosen you.